So that addresses things about what cost of litigation. What about cost of getting into the game? Like, for example, trademarks versus patents versus copyright and so forth. I mean, and what a patent application can cost, what, even $15,000 or $20,000 to file?
It sure can.
And then add up to.
It sure can, and that's just in the U.S. and to file internationally. That oftentimes you can file directly into a country, or what's called the PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty, which is an international application, and then you file that application for now. This may change very soon, but for now you have to then file into many different international countries, and that's very, very expensive.
So like a couple $100,000 over
Absolutely.
a period of a few years?
Easily.
So patents take quite a long time to get done and cost a lot of money to get done.
Yes, they do.
Also, you pay attention to the weird countries that you're really worried about them ripping you off. In other words, it can be a preemptive strike to file in a specific country, but at the same time, you've got to make sure that country actually has a decent enough government to actually honor the patents.
Right.
So you don't want to spend, for instance, when we did XCOM, we decided not to do Egypt, even though we had potential customers in Egypt. They didn't have a demonstrable government, and we weren't really sure that it was worth the effort if the patent goes to something that doesn't actually exist. So you're making those decisions as business decisions.
I'll tell you an example of that. We had a resort client who was filing a trademark in St. Kitts, and the trademark lady who was the trademark office, her hard drive crashed. And the trademark office closed. They didn't fix it. They didn't recover it. It's just there are no more trademarks in St. Kitts. And so you got to be careful in some of these countries about.
So it'd be cheaper to actually buy a new machine and send it and open the office up that you can get the trademark.
No, that's right. But in terms of like actual prices, if you're going after a trademark, you budget $1,500, $2,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bang for your buck, I think, on the front side. If I were telling you what two things should I do early on, you file a trademark and get a confidentiality agreement. And you can do both of those for under $5,000. And I think that's a lot. They get you a lot of the way down the field. Then you can start making determinations if you're going to call Shauna and really back the Brinks truck up and lock down that patent protection.
Okay, so I guess we're getting a little bit close on time. Todd, any last words on, a take-home for someone who might be thinking about pursuing some avenue that would be governed by intellectual property?
The one thing we didn't talk about is the money of actually forming the entity if you do it. So if you go to all the trouble to do the patents and all the filings, you ultimately hope to commercialize it in some way, shape, or form. So also keep in mind the money that you're going to have to pay to build the structure of the entity itself. And those may not be the same attorneys, but they usually are within the same group. And I could spend hours just talking about the screw-ups I did forming companies. There is smart money to be spent. And so, for instance, the building your corporate structure and understanding, just like you're talking about EULAs and that's smart money to do. The other thing is, if you do the business plan, go ahead and write a private placement memorandum and do a good job of a private placement memorandum even before you take the first venture into the company. So in other words, you have an entity to bring even if it's angel capital up front, that you get $200,000 in angel capital or something, go ahead and write a private placement memorandum to take that money so that there's a basis for the equity. And so if you think about it, this is the beginning of the process, but you're never finished with intellectual property protection, and you want to think about budgeting enough money in order to form the entity well. And doing it well, you can screw up all the money that you spend on your patents if you don't have the business structures done right. And so, again, I've screwed everything up in my life. I'm more than happy to be a resource to try to keep other people from screwing up. But at the same time, there is smart money to be spent, and attorneys are your best friend. And while I've been here, just let me be clear, been involved in 9 tech transfers at multiple universities. This university is young at it, but they are very good at handling some of these things. So I'm more than happy to be a resource, but you've got Marty and her team. They're excellent at what they do. And and we want to be really good at this. And so, you know, we're young, but I think we could be really good at it at this university.
Okay, and I